Do you need to check your notes or anything? You don't have notes.
I don't have notes. I never have notes.
Yeah, that's the problem. Okay, rolling. Go ahead.
Silence. 3, 2, 1.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay, 2
Can't
points.
kill you.
2 points with the, we'll use in-state Route 19 as an example. So you're saying the guys who get ready, the guys who get pummeled. So obviously, some people don't realize that getting that many vehicles and that much equipment to an event costs a lot of money. So is it right for event staff to intervene when it's like, oh, those are awesome vehicles. You are totally going to push this shit in.
Yeah.
You can't use them till noon. Sorry, what?
No.
It's like $300 to get each vehicle there, and we have five of them, and you're
and
telling
you
me
have-
I can't use them
It's
right
not,
off the bat?
It's not okay.
No.
Just
That's my personal opinion. But
Oh,
I mean-
wait. You guys all have, AEGs, and all these guys have spring guns. Boy, that's... Well, I guess they should have brought some freaking AEGs to the gunfight.
Yeah, but the
rocket launchers.
only logical back response for a host event, if they get in this situation, because they're in a hard place. The event staff is not at fault. The players in the other team are at fault.
No.
It's absolutely, you can't argue.
Okay, no, I can't argue it, but I'll accept it.
If they did not prep up and put their damn heart and soul in it, it is not my fault.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's true.
When was GTI? 5 months? 6 months? 6 months? 5.5 months. Okay, 2 weeks we start our training schedule for GTI.
Right.
Okay, we're going to train for 5 months for an event ahead of time. Are the people going to do that?
No.
So it's not the event staff. It's not the event staff, and they're putting a rock in a hard place. And I don't want to get reeled in. But what do? What's their logical answer? What are they going to do? Give some of our guys to the other team, which I'm okay with, but people want to play with their own team. They train
Right.
with their
And
own team,
hopefully
they
we
wanna fight with their own
we can generate some great suggestions on comments on this particular video. But
And hate mail.
and hate mail, yes.
I'm
Can't forget the hate mail.
planning on hate mail.
Hate mail. But how? Can you really punish and penalize initiative?
Should you really?
Should you?
fund it? Yeah.
Because you're trying to
Can
grow
you?
this
Yes.
sport. Because
Should you?
it's that
No.
initiative that's growing the
Right.
Milsim arena.
Right.
So if you penalize it, yes, on one side you have the people that just want to give up because they don't want to put in the time. The guys who are putting in the time are getting penalized and punished
Okay.
for it, and they're
Yeah. All right.
There has to be a balance. there.
Yeah.
This can all be reeled back in. I mean, you're talking about, let's go back to the vehicles thing for a minute. And honestly, the training, I think, is something that you enjoy to do regardless of being at the event. It's an extension
Actually,
of
we do.
enjoyment in the event.
We
So
do, as a matter of fact.
that
Which makes
is
us weird.
Yeah, that is your own personal enjoyment. But let's go back to the vehicles for a minute because you do pay a lot of money. You pay a lot of money in gas. You pay
Insurance.
POV charges probably, and then obviously to get the vehicle out there,
keeping them obviously keeping them
insurance,
running while they're there.
keeping them running, keeping the guns running, whatever you have on that thing, you got to keep it going. Somebody to man those.
I
And
think at in-state alone, between the vehicles we had, they were spent over $500 in
Right.
repairs on the vehicles at
On
the
site,
ALO.
yeah.
And in most cases, those vehicles are actually a draw for the hosting company.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, they're not supplying the vehicles in
Right.
most cases. Maybe a deuce at D-Day or something, but in most cases, it's a draw for other
It
players to come out and
enhances-
play it next to it, play
enhances
around
their
it.
game.
At
So
Lion
why
Claws
wouldn't you
events,
want
they
them on the
have
field?
Humvees, that also helps with the
Yeah.
atmosphere.
And this is something I've always kind of battled with too, is because at a certain point, vehicles are unfair, especially if you don't have something to combat it with.
but that's not the
If
vehicle's
staff,
fault.
if staff wants to even the playing ground, keep the vehicles out there. Start giving the other team something to take them out with.
Quite frankly, it's a lot easier. I mean, we discovered this throughout the Second World War up to now. You can have a $3 million tank. You have one of those, and then you can outfit 300 guys with anti-tank rockets
Yeah.
for what it takes to put that one vehicle out there. You spend $5,000 on a Suburban, I can get 10 guys out there with launchers, HPA systems, and a big bucket full of rockets.
And pay for their way there.
Yeah, for $500 a head.
Or get a force equalizer that's staff that can take care of those vehicles, and that's going to give the guys that are in the vehicles a hell of an awesome experience on top of the other team still
tank
having the
hunting is
vehicles.
so
in.
much more fun than being in the tank.
I mean, that's true. It's absolutely true.
Yeah.
Maybe what we should do is bring the vehicles for everyone else to use and then try to take them out next
I've
time.
used the vehicles in 4 or 5 events, and to be honest, not having to walk back to respawn is
That's
really-
Yeah, it's amazing.
That's
It
the
is.
tits on vehicles, is you don't have to walk.
fresh players have more fun and they're more dominating.
Yeah.
So who cares if they're strategically a tank that can't get blown up or this
Yeah.
or that or the other?
Right.
It's
I
the fact that they keep me in the game, happy and not tired and miserable.
And they can run water and supplies
Absolutely.
back and
Yes.
forth. Yeah, if all we have we're personnel carriers,
which I'm fine with.
I'm fine with that. I don't need a vehicle. I don't need something that's got a freaking turret on it.
Although it's
Right.
pretty fun driving the Subarus backwards and shooting it. But gotta admit that.
Yeah, I don't need something that's got a turret on it. I don't need something that's got a cannon on it or whatever.
Anyway,
the benefit we get is from the mobility,
I mean, the
not
end
the
point.
arsenal.
The end point is that those vehicles are brought out there by the players, and they create an experience that isn't the speedball, isn't the recreational airsoft. It is that Milsim experience that the staff wants. So why would you be pulling them off?
Well, yeah,
Why wouldn't you just create other rules or compensate in some other form?
You have to be careful with flipping rules in the middle of a game, though. That nothing,
It never
nothing
disseminates
pisses me
properly.
off
Yeah,
more
you could
effectively
create-
or
rules getting
completely.
changed. What do you mean? If there's
Yeah.
you're shot in the windshield, everybody's dead. What? Changing rules really, really upsets people.
And
So
the-
it's one of those
Switching
things that has
sides
to be
really upsets people.
that's later.
It does.
upsets
That
really
one you
upsets
can't do.
So, and just like the experience we had people that were on our team that we thought were reliable, kind of, that switched sides without us even knowing and upset people. Same thing with rules.
Yeah, people on the other side as well as-
Yeah,
we have
we're
a
we're
big-
relying on those rules.
That's right.
We read those rules before we went to the event. That's part of our discipline is that we go and read the rule set. This is how vehicles are used. This is how area of effect weapons are used. This is how AT is used. This is how the medic rules work. Okay, we got these things down. Then we show up and it's like, wait, what? Now we can't medic people the same way? Now we can't drive vehicles the same way?
on-field arguments, on-field
The whole
arguments.
thing you've trained for those 5 months is no longer.
I mean,
in effect.
I'm willing to accept, a Frago. That's a fact of life. But there is no Frago in the real world that says that bullets won't you up when they hit you. There's just some things you shouldn't change in the game.
Something my guys have done is a vehicle malfunction. I mean, it happens in the real world all the time. So then what do you got to do? Go
had that.
grab a mechanic or
See,
go.
but the thing
Actually,
is like
I would do that.
In
I
a
would
Milsim game, you don't have to simulate that. I've been
Right.
part of several things where
Yeah.
it goes down.
Dude,
We're
yes.
push starting, clutch
Absolutely.
starting, changing tires.
Yeah, that's the one
It
I would do.
happens.
Is if the game staff feels like this vehicle is doing too much, you guys, you got a flat tire. Get out there and change it because
Yep.
you have a tire fix kit, don't you?
Yeah.
Of course you do because you're a squared away team that's got their own technicals.
Right.
To me, that's a great penalty for a squared away team because it's like, we just had a challenge. You mean we have to secure the
now
area
we
and
have
shoot around our
something- We have
vehicle?
something new that we
Yeah.
have to do.
We have to change a tire to
just
go
get
again?
pulled off.
Yeah,
Well, but that's also part of personal players' responsibility to do for themselves. Like I know for a fact, a couple of the guys, I'll bring up a team, NACO, some of those guys are absolute shitheads and other ones are absolutely wonderful and great guys.
I'll accept
and,
that.
And a couple of guys I know for a fact made a little game out of sneaking around and trying to destroy our Suburbans, and they embraced the challenge. Just like the exact same reverse for some of my ECR guys when we were in Kane right by the church at Broken Home. We made a game up where we'd say this person go tag him in cover, and the game was we'd have to go tag a guy in cover without getting shot. We made a game out of it. We made our own situation up to make it more difficult to entertain ourselves to another level. So it's a lot of personal responsibility from the players.
Okay,
it's not the staff's responsibility to make you have a good time.
It's not. It's the player's responsibility to have a good
Exactly.
time.
Absolutely.
That's true. It's also not the staff's responsibility to make sure the other team has a good time.
Yeah.
And that's where that whole pulling things back violates.
Right.
Because the instant the staff goes, we're going to favor them over you. I know you've put all this work into it. You've worked really hard. And they've got their heads up their ass. But
it
we're
is-
going to favor them.
It is their responsibility to try to balance things out so the most amount of people get the most enjoyment out of the situation. Same thing we've done inside of Colorado. We've taken we've ate personal things we disliked, to make it better for everybody else. Abacus wore American camouflage to an event,
Dude,
which
don't
he was
say that on film.
which is absolutely against his person, but he did it for the betterment of every single other person to, make a foot
That I could
forward.
yell at.
Exactly. So same thing staff's trying to do. They're trying to eat a little bit to make it better for everybody else, and I agree with that. I
Except
really
they're
do.
fine. Except they're eating off of my plate at that point. If staff wants to limit their own involvement in something, that's fine. But right now they're taking away from my plate and more importantly my guys. If I've got an event that my guys are going to spend anywhere between 2 and 5 months training for, I don't know how much money they're going to sink into their vehicles and launchers and heavy weapons and all this other crap and night vision and all this other crap they're going to do. And then we're going to travel to this event and pay the event fee and put up with the crummy living conditions to get there. And then but then they get to play 75% of the time. They get to get pulled back. How do I sell that to my guys? You don't.
You can't.
You can't.
When,
Yeah.
when a
and
team,
a good team goes, really? Is this what the kind of behavior I have to look forward to? I'm going to go somewhere else.
when a team lives 3 hours from an AO, and they have G&G combat machines and they have thrift store camouflage, does that make them not good players? No, it does not.
No.
But it gives them the tool
Less
to make
commitment.
more lesser players be able to attend a high caliber national op. And I think that brings the quality of the op down. But
that
that's
brings
for
up
everybody.
A point. I don't think it's totally fair to say that one side or the UFS had their heads up their asses. I mean, they obviously they were dealt the hand that they were dealt. They were fighting uphill.
But even in the same,
And actually, let me be clear that I wasn't specific. When I said head up their asses, that was a generic term. It wasn't
Okay.
specifically pointed out for anyone in
Because I
particular.
have to say, at Broken Home 2 in particular, I mean, UFS adapted very quickly.
Yeah,
I mean,
but-
there wasn't anything that, CDF or Cost would throw at them. They were constantly adapting. They were constantly trying, switching it up, and pulled a couple of really smart moves.
But see, this is turning into the AMS direction where it's an AMS conversation, but it's not. It's a
it's a bar.
yeah, exactly.
I'm
it's
pretty sure I can go to
the
any-
Green Mountain Rangers at a Lou event. It's something that plagues airsoft as a whole. The guys were mad about Black Sheep, that they were 24 hours, 2 structures, and put on guard duty, and they're blah, 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 and they were mad about it. Well, that's what the event is.
That's what you signed
You know
up
what I
for.
mean?
Yeah.
And then the whole